Hello, hello. How's it going, guys? Can you let me know if you can hear me and see me okay before I start to drop some gold? And you could use the chat below this here. So I see we already have some comments, which is great. Cad the Impaler, I love it. Another Toronto person. While we're waiting for a few other people to come in, can you drop a comment below with where you are watching this from? In Toronto today, it's really cold. So luckily we got the heat on in here. That's weird, but that's okay because I get to wear a t-shirt. Guys, who is excited for today? I am. Today's topic, this is the first time ever that I'm teaching this live. So it's a new presentation. So if I fumble a little bit, I'm a little nervous, but wish me luck and be sure to take out a pen and paper because we are going to be dropping some great things and inspiration for you guys today to actually apply to your own business and your own product launch. So really, really pumped. Oh, we have someone from the Caribbean, Minnesota. Yep. I'm so jealous of the Caribbean. I was down south a few months ago and wish I were there again. So guys, thank you for showing up today. We have a presentation. It's a training on how you can still launch your product online profitably without Kickstarter. And I want to preface that there are going to be three main things we're going into today. Specifically, if you don't want to do Kickstarter or you've been on the fence as to whether Kickstarter is right for your product or if you'd rather launch it on your own storefront and go direct to consumer, what is right for you? What's the right model for you? How does the pre-launch work? And how is our new method of launching products not using Kickstarter, how that can apply for your business? So the one thing I will say is, should you have any questions, please do drop them in the comments. In order for me to stay focused and in flow, I'm not going to be able to see the comments. So we will have Q&A at the very end. So if you do stay to the end, you're going to get two things. You're going to be able to ask me questions. So I'm going to stick around for as long as necessary to make sure that you guys have any questions or concerns handled. Number two, if you stay to the end, I have a special bonus for you. So lots of free stuff. And let's get into the training today. So today's training is how to launch and scale your product online without Kickstarter. I was really interested in that title because if you have been following my work for a few months now, you'll know that I have been an advocate of Kickstarter for 6 years. I built a whole career off of it. In the past, I've raised millions of dollars in pre-order revenue by launching physical products using crowdfunding. And in the last couple of years, we've noticed a big shift with the viability of creators like you guys launching your products on Kickstarter. Things stopped working the way they used to with increased competition, with there's a lot of stuff going on with the platform and with supply chain issues and all the things. And so the last 2 years have caused us to actually pivot and discover a new way to launch products that allows you to go to market a lot faster, meaning you don't have to spend 4 months building up this big audience before you go to launch. You can actually launch your product and start getting real paying customers in as little as a month. And it's a faster strategy we're talking about today. It's a more profitable strategy, and it's an alternative strategy that we have been testing and proving across multiple different kinds of product verticals that you're going to see today. And I'm going to be showing you examples of different kinds of brands that we have launched and successfully scaled to multiple 6 and 7 figures by using this new method. So if you're excited, let me know in the comments. Okay, and if I'm looking over here, I have my notes over here. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, so first off, what's the purpose of this training? The purpose of this training and what inspired this training is the fact that we have had to pivot everything we do internally with our clients, with our trainings, with everything we put out there to talk about this new model, because Kickstarter is broken. in this training, you're going to discover why it's broken and what we've done to pivot to a better strategy. But this leaves the problem in that for the last 12, 13 years, Kickstarter has been the go-to funding method for small businesses, right? You think of doing a Kickstarter when you think, well, I need to raise money to bring my product to market. But if we're talking about removing Kickstarter from the equation, it leaves some cause for concern. So the model we're getting into today is allowing us to actually go into our very first point, which is how you can still ethically get customers to buy your product in advance so you could take that money, pay for inventory, and effectively stealing the Kickstarter model, but using it in a better way for your business that allows you to go to market way faster. So going to Kickstarter in the past has solved a big problem of startup funding. But why are we changing off Kickstarter? Kickstarter launches are broken, and here's why. The old way of launching products using Kickstarter doesn't work for the average startup. I have a conversation with somebody where they come to me saying, hey, I have this great product idea, and for initial inventory and tooling and manufacturing, I need to raise $30,000. Great. So I want to do a Kickstarter campaign. And I say, okay, awesome. Do you have an audience? And they say, nope, I'm starting from zero, which is okay. And I say, okay, well, here's how the math works with a Kickstarter campaign. To raise $30,000 in pre-order revenue using Kickstarter, to pay for inventory and just to get your product into customers' hands, Kickstarter doesn't just give you money. You have to prove to the platform that you are a popular project so that they will show you to their community, right? And the reality is that in the last few years, their community isn't as engaged or responsive and doesn't convert as many sales as you want. But even then, if you assume that from your launch, you're going to get 20 to 30% of your overall sales, your $30,000 you're going for from the Kickstarter community, where are you getting the rest of the pledges from, right? So the way a Kickstarter launch is meant to work is you spend 3 to 4 months building up an audience of people ready to buy your product. You build an email list so that when you go launch on Kickstarter, you have a pool of people ready to buy your product so that on that first day, you need to have a certain amount of traction coming in with Kickstarter. So you should have about, let's say for a $30,000 campaign, you need to bring in about $10,000 in pledges from your list building efforts before you launch, right? And then Kickstarter will rank you. You start to get some pledges from their platform, but then you're still kind of short. So you still have to market your product, do paid advertising, get in front of a bigger demographic. So when all is said and done, you went to Kickstarter to raise $30,000 to pay for inventory. But what ends up happening is you end up spending before launch $20,000 just to get that pre-launch list, $5,000 for a video, another $20,000 on ads. So essentially what ends up happening is for the $30,000 you originally went out for to fund your inventory, you're actually out like $20,000 to $40,000. So that's kind of broken, because what you need a Kickstarter campaign to do is not just pay for that initial $30,000. You actually need to raise a whole lot more to make sure you've got extra inventory to keep selling. And you also need to make sure that you've raised enough to fund the next 6 months of your startup so that you have operating capital, right? So what that actually means is the average person going out for $30,000 actually needs a whole lot more for that launch. And you actually need closer to like $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 raised to put you in a good spot, which means the amount that you have to invest to go to Kickstarter is like way, way more. So you end up spending what you could have spent on inventory in the first place just to do a Kickstarter campaign. And that math doesn't work for the average person. And so when I go through that conversation with a founder on the phone, they're like, I don't want to do a Kickstarter campaign anymore. And honestly, I don't blame you. Because the thing with Kickstarter is, yes, you have the opportunity to raise a whole bunch of money in 1 month, but you spend months building up to that for the hope that you are going to get the traction from the Kickstarter community you need to make everything else happen. So that is what is broken in Kickstarter land. So what have we done to replace that? Well, this is the new opportunity where we are able to take the concept and structure of how to do a Kickstarter launch, but we take Kickstarter out of the equation. And what we do instead is we go direct to consumer. We do a pre-order campaign on your own website. So what that means is that we're still through pre-orders, customers are buying your product in advance. You take that money to fund the initial inventory run as you continue to get more customers, and then 3 to 4 months in, you fulfill product. But the difference in the model between Kickstarter, where you're spending months building this pre-launch list, you're outlaying tens of thousands of dollars building an email list that you hope converts. Instead, you're taking the Kickstarter model, you're asking customers to buy your product in advance to then get that product in a couple months. But the difference is you can launch your storefront a whole lot faster than Kickstarter. You don't need to spend time building up this big audience. Instead, what you do is you open your storefront and you start to build your audience by asking people to literally purchase your product. So in the beginning, you're not building this big list. You're literally spending money to acquire customers, real paying customers. And that's the model. So I want to get into exactly how that works, we can ethically get customers to buy your product in advance. So one of the things that comes in is that you might be thinking, well, I'm comfortable pre-selling my product on Kickstarter because Kickstarter is a big name. And so there's got to be more trust with the customer than buying on my own website, right? Not so much. Kickstarter in itself has a really bad reputation with their customer base of products not delivering on time. So because of that, because of the changes and how customers are how backers, that's a Kickstarter customer, how backers are viewing Kickstarter is that Kickstarter actually is pretty risky to back and support projects. So by you going straight to the website, going straight to when a customer buying directly from you, you control the sale a lot more. You have a chance to connect with your backers a lot more because you don't have this massive platform behind you. So there's a lot more established trust when somebody is buying directly from your website. Okay. The second thing is you want to be ethical about this. You want to make sure that when you are taking pre-orders for your product, that you have a good return policy and you keep your customers completely up to date of any delays or whatnot, right? But you go to the consumer right away is being able to take that money and get customers, real customers, and build your brand. And taking Kickstarter out, it's just a much faster, much more profitable route to market. Okay, so let's go into that. So first off, are you guys getting value from this? What do you think? What do you think of the model so far? Do you have any questions? Any questions? Let me know. So let's talk about a few brands we've done this with. Okay, so number one, the first company we decided to experiment with the direct to market approach versus Kickstarter was a $30 straw. It's a reusable straw that we tested. We said, you know what, because of your price point and because of how much you're going to have to spend to go to Kickstarter, are you open to launching on your own website? And the client was. So we ended up testing over the course of 1 month to see if the product was viable. And in $1,500 in ad spend, we generated $5,000 in revenue. Okay, really good test, direct to the customer. We then continued to building that out, getting pre-orders. And then as soon as pre-orders were done, fulfilled product, start getting reviews and really building the brand up that way. So we first used it on a $30 straw. The second experiment we did was a $500 motorcycle jacket. Okay, so motorcycle jacket was in pre-orders. Through this pre-order model, in 4 months, we sold $50,000 worth of product for a $500,000 or $500 jacket. So here we have two completely different products. One is a $30 price point, and then one is a $500 price point. Okay, the model worked for both. We then have another consumer product in the middle where it is a weighted fitness and Cali Waits. You can see the interview with Eric on our YouTube channel, where we, even after their Indiegogo campaign, we were still in pre-orders for about 6 months after that point. And within even doing like from the Indiegogo campaign to continuing pre-orders on their own website, before they even started to fulfill, we had generated multiple six figures with that brand. And the price point for this is a $60 consumer item. So this model works across all different verticals. We specialize on working with D2C brands. So if you have a product that consumers buy, think of something you'd buy on Amazon, but more custom. That is who this model can apply to. Pre-orders are amazing. And thankfully, I guess, because of the pandemic and because of supply chain issues and everything being delayed, even big brands are doing pre-orders for out of stock items. So while that's a different approach, consumers are getting more used to the idea of pre-order. And if they only have to wait 2 to 3 months, you're good. Okay. So that is, let me know too. Has anyone here done pre-orders? Either successfully or not? I want to know. And if you have any questions or hangups on doing pre-orders, it's really interesting because when I tell people that I specialize in helping people sell products that don't exist yet, it's a cool joke because that's what pre-orders are. I love this model because when you take a prototype and you're just about to go to manufacturing, but you want to make sure you've got market demand, what better way to prove product? What better way to validate? What better way to figure out who your customer is than starting to take pre-orders? Okay. Test the market. Are people actually going to buy your product? And then once you've sold 5, 10, 15 units, you now have the start of a business if you then want to pursue pre-orders. Very exciting. Okay. Secret number 2 is how to find your ideal target market and get paying customers in less time than it takes to make a Starbucks run. So far we've talked about the dilemma with Kickstarter launches and why it may even be a better proposition for you to just go direct to consumer and sell on your own website. We have talked about different brands and different price points that it works for, okay? And we've seen it work for successfully. And we also see that customers are getting used to buying things in pre-order and having to wait for product because of supply chain issues. So it's actually being pretty normalized for brands to do this, whether beginner or small, okay? So the second secret is, how do you find people? Because it's one thing to bring a product to market. It's one thing to design something that you love, but next is like, well, how do I know who's gonna buy this product, right? Like, who's your target audience? So finding your target audience online comes down to getting really clear on the result that your product gives in somebody's life. So we focus exclusively on custom products. We work with creators that want to build a brand. And building a brand and having products under a brand name are very different from just selling another pair of leggings, another white label product where if you go on Amazon, there are 52 of the same product. So building a brand comes down to serving the customer. It comes down to focusing on solving a problem in somebody's life. So when you look to find your ideal customer, you can start finding it by asking yourself one question. What is the result that my product brings in somebody's life? Okay. If we bring this back, when you have a headache, what do? You think of Advil, or you think of Tylenol, or you think of something, right? Now, if I was trying to sell Advil as just a pill, you'd be like, well, they don't need it because it's just a pill, right? There's nothing special about it. But if you focus on Advil is what I buy for headache relief, then it's a brand that you go to all the time, okay? So ask yourself, what is the result that my product is bringing in somebody's life? This is a huge mistake that people make when it comes to product positioning, because you focus too much on features like, oh, well, my thingamabob has better battery life. Well, my thing has a waterproof coating. Okay, but why does that really matter? Why it really matters is we take something like the Jamstack guitar amplifier that allows you to just clip on a speaker to the bottom of your electric guitar and within 30 seconds, you're able to play wherever you want. Okay, so what Jamstack is selling is freedom, portability. Okay, you then take something like Series Chill. Series Chill is a women's breast milk chiller that allows you to pump and keep your milk cool for up to 20 hours. She's not selling a thermos. What Lisa is selling is a solution to a massive pain point with breastfeeding moms, allowing moms to still be able to travel, go to work, etc., and pump milk without needing to dump it or whatnot. Okay, think of the bigger thing your product helps solve in somebody's life, right? And when you do that, you're then able to identify, okay, great. Well, then who is most likely to resonate with my product? That is how you start discovering your target audience, by defining what is the problem in the market that you're looking to solve. Okay. So looking at past results with this, we looked at Lisa with Series Chill. We looked at Jamstack. We also look at niching down. So when you look to get really clear on who is most likely to benefit from the problem or from the result that your product solves, you are then going to be able to go online and say, great, well, if her audience are breastfeeding moms, can we narrow that down? And when we narrow that down a little bit, we're able to then find influencers or authors or online communities that serve that demographic that she can then do partnership deals with. She can then get in front of that audience to start to build her own quickly. Okay. All right, guys, have you gotten value so far? Let me know. Any questions? And again, I will be sticking around for Q&A at the end. And if you're still with us, you do get a free launch gift at the end. So be sure to stay around so I can give you details on how to do that. Okay. This is my favorite point. I did in our online accelerator, we did a really cool workshop on Tuesday where I talked about this idea of identity. Okay. And so my third secret is how to sell $1 million worth of product with no marketing experience. Every person I talk to, every founder I talk to, maybe out of 100, 3 of them come from the marketing world. The people we work with are lawyers. The people we work with are engineers. They're product designers. The people we work with used to be high school teachers. Very, very, very few of them have any actual marketing training. And so when it comes to you launching a product, if you take the product away, if you take product design away, if you take fulfillment away, manufacturing, what are you? Well, you become somebody who learns how to market and sell a company or really a brand and a product. Okay, whether you're doing that or whether your team is doing that or an agency you work with is doing that, at the end of the day, your ability to go big is your ability to be open to learning marketing. And the one belief I want to shatter with you is that when you look at successful brands, very few of them had marketing experience going into it. Even me, I have sold millions of dollars online through Kickstarter, through pre-order revenue, through helping brands expand. We've created multiple 7-figure companies, and it all comes down to marketing. But I have a biochemistry degree. I've never taken a marketing class in my life. I have never been employed as a marketer. I've never worked for any e-commerce brands. All of the things that I have done online are self-taught. And so when we look at some of our case studies, every one of them that hit 7 figures, multiple 6 figures, and got fast growth in their business was because they were open to stepping into the identity of someone who learns marketing. And they understood that from the very beginning. They may not understand marketing, but they know who to learn from, and they know when to double down and learn a new skill. So being open to starting your own business is shifting your mindset of, oh, you're not a product developer anymore. You're someone who will step into the role of learning to market your product because of the impact you can bring to somebody's life through your products. and your brand. Okay. So one myth I want to dispel here is that I get a lot of resistance when people say, yeah, I want to do what you do. Yeah, I want to start an e-commerce brand. Yeah, I want 7 figures, but I'm not a marketer. Or, but I've never sold anything online, but I've never done this thing. Okay. So let's talk about some of the actual entrepreneurs that we've worked with and where they started. Okay. One of my favorites, Chris, with Jamstack. Jamstack started with a guy who was teaching young kids robotics. He's an engineer. Chris had never worked at, again, no marketing experience. And he had this product idea that he was so passionate about. And after getting feedback from friends, he knew he had to make an idea. And Chris, over the course of 4 years, has created a multi-million-dollar company, multiple SKUs that serve avid guitar players. But Chris had no marketing experience. So how did he do it? He was open to learning. And he became someone who learned a system, who learned how to show up, learned how to communicate to his customer and find his ideal customer online so that he can get paying customers. Okay. And how do you get to 7 figures? How do you build $1 million brand? One customer at a time. Okay. So we have Chris, who came from the engineering background. We then have Lisa. I love Lisa. Hi, if you're watching. Lisa was Series Chill. Lisa never wanted to start a company. Lisa has hit $1 million in revenue as of November, her first $1 million with Series Chill. She is a partner at a law firm. Okay. She has never marketed in her life. Lisa knows how to hustle. She knows how to learn fast. Okay. But Lisa comes from the legal background, no online marketing experience. She got super frustrated by current breastfeeding solutions that were out there and realized that as a working mom that had a 1-hour commute on ferry every day to then spend hours in the office, it killed her that she had to not be able to breastfeed her kid as long as she wanted to. So she developed a solution to her own problem, got some really great feedback from other moms, and decided to go with it. Okay. Now, multiple SKUs, $1 million brand, lawyer. Okay. We then have one of our most recent case studies out of Australia. We have Nikki. Nikki runs a company in the weaving and knitting space. She's doing $1 million brand. Nikki is one of the smartest entrepreneurs I have ever met in my life. But did she their sales have doubled year over year. And has she come from a marketing background? No, she has not. I was just chatting with her today. She came from a project management background and property development firm. So you go from offline traditional business, no marketing experience, to stepping into accidentally creating a company for yourself because it serves a need in that person's life. So I want to tell these stories because I think that there are just these beliefs or myths that, well, it just comes more naturally to people, or, well, they were able to do it because they know how to market, and I will tell you now, I'm self-taught, and with the right system, the right attitude, the right mindset, and shifting your perspective from being a product developer to somebody who is open to learning marketing and how to communicate with your customer, that is somebody who's going to be open and able to creating $1 million brand. Okay. All right, guys. So have you gotten value, inspiration? How are you guys feeling? I shouldn't do that. How are you guys feeling? Let me know below. Let me know below. And again, Q&A at the end. So we've covered a lot in the last 30 minutes on the dot, actually. And right now, is anyone feeling a little overwhelmed? Let me go in here. An outsider has the potential to be a better marketer because they listen and respond. I love some of these comments. Okay. I'm going to go through some of these at the end. But, okay. So we have, is anyone feeling a little overwhelmed? Okay. Anyone here? Let me know. And the other thing I'm going to say is that I want to see, is it okay if I made you guys a special offer today? For those that are looking for a little bit of extra help? Let me know below. And because I know that there's something that you are going to need after this, especially for those that are overwhelmed but also equally excited. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an offer at the end. And at this point, we have talked about how Kickstarter is broken. We've talked about a new method of launching products that involves getting real customers a lot faster, that you can use to validate your product and start to see success and traction and build your brand. Okay. And taking ownership of that. We've talked about the idea of being open to and stepping into someone who is learning to become a marketer, even though that may not be something that comes naturally to you. Even if you are someone who hates being on camera, even if you're someone who is shy, you're super introverted, you hate the idea of talking to people, you can do all of that if you're just open to learning, and you don't even have to go on video. Okay, I know I just said that, but I'm on video here. So we've talked about a few of our case studies of creating $1 million brands where all of these started from a pre-order campaign. We've talked about the success of different pre-order products at different price points across different verticals. So this model can and will work for you if it's something that you're willing to step into. So my offer for you is that if you are looking for help implementing this new system in your business, whether you just want to learn a little bit more to see if pre-orders could work for you, or you want to learn about how to validate the product so that you have a little bit of confidence before you place that inventory order, then go to launchandscale.co/PLP, and you can schedule a call with me to talk about your business. And in that point, we have a few ways to work with you guys. I'm not actually pitching anything today, so don't give me money. But in saying that, we have different ways to work with us, whether that is something where we are actually doing the work for you, or you are working with us through our online accelerator. So if you are interested in learning a little bit more about how this model can work for you, go to launchandscale.co/PLP. I just put that below in the comments. And I also promised some bonuses for staying until the end. So who likes free stuff? I mean, you're all liars if you don't say yes in the comments, but okay. So I'm going to give you a link to our 2 things: 32 free or inexpensive ways to market your product online. And number 2, a training on how to 10x your product launch results in under 10 minutes. So let me just pull up the link, and then I'm going to stick around for questions. I just realized I had the link pulled up on my iPad, but not here. So 2 seconds. Okay. So on this link, you will get these 2 free bonuses. Okay. It's a Google Drive link. And in there, you're actually going to see, surprise, 3 freebies, 3 free things. It's our product launch bundle. Again, you get 32 free or inexpensive ways to market your product online, and how to 10x your product launch in under 10 minutes. So super cool. Okay, so apart from that, let me see. Again, if you're looking for help implementing this system into your launch, or need help validating idea, again, go to launchandscale.co/PLP. But that's it. So I'm going to stick around for questions for a little bit. And let me just give me a sec to catch up on the comments here. Hello from Hungary, next to Ukraine. Oh, no. Yeah, Folder Go, if you're still there, one of our team members is in Romania, and he opened up the team call this morning by saying, I'm safe. I'm safe. Romania might be next to Ukraine, but yeah, it's just rough what's going out of there. Very current with my situation. Love it. Can you elaborate on how you find those customers and market to them? What does the campaign look like? Oh, love this. Okay, so how do you actually find people? You got the product idea, you got the storefront up, and you know who your target customer is, but how do you find them? There are 2 ways that you can find customers online. Number 1 is organic methods. Number 2 will be paid methods. Okay. I believe the healthiest combination is to do both. Organic methods are those that are free or inexpensive. So the ones that we love doing is getting in front of a bigger audience faster. Influencer marketing. Okay. Getting on podcast interviews, getting into Facebook groups and networking with your audience, social media. Okay. There's different ways that you can do a push-pull method where Pushing is getting content out there. Pulling is going to be using other people's networks, audiences to build your own. Okay. So for example, Series Chill does really well on podcast interviews talking about her story or her product. And from that, people discover Series Chill because she taps into that mom audience that then goes to Series Chill and buys. Okay. The other side are paid methods. So in the very beginning, when you're doing pre-orders, we recommend that you stick with Facebook, Instagram versus Google. So if you do have a bit of a budget, going to Facebook, even just spending a few $100s on it for testing purposes is going to be a really great way to get in front of more people. Okay. All right. Yeah, Cam, thanks. I help sell products that don't exist. It is, and it's so true. And I think it's so funny. Very interesting. Can you elaborate on how you find these customers? Talk about, hi, how do you manage Facebook feedback score? Many customers don't understand they have to wait. Facebook send review requests after 4 to 8 weeks. Yeah. So Facebook's feedback score, I think, Lorenzacio, this comes down to setting real good expectations. So the thing with pre-orders is that you have to be explicit in your communication with your customers to make sure they know not to get the product right away. So here's what you do. On your page just before checkout, you want to say product ships in April. So they know before buying that you have an expected delivery timeline. That's number one. Number two, you want to have your buy now button, have everything on your website say pre-order. Be very explicit, right? Number three, in your follow-up communication with your Shopify or your provider will send a payment confirmation email. In that, you want to say, thank you for your payment. We're going to send you shipping updates as we go. Right now, we are expected to fulfill in April, and we're going to send out regular communication and production updates so you can stay in the know with product development, etc. So I find that if you have to be overly communicative with pre-orders, otherwise consumers just think it's like any other storefront and they should get their product in 2 days, right? You're not running an Amazon store yet anyway. So you do want to make sure that you are being explicit. Otherwise, you will get return requests and angry customers. So there is an absolute way to manage expectations with pre-orders so you keep everyone happy. And it's just about being upfront and send regular communication with production updates. Okay. Yes, to having all the control. Let me see what else. Next, direct response TV is another great one. So once you have a bit of traction, like this is more like 6 months to a year plus in it, you can definitely start looking into QVC and other marketing channels. I'm a massive fan of just getting things working on your site first in the first like 3 months, get those initial sales, get that proof of concept, get customers and fulfill and make sure everyone's happy before you start to go to other channels like that. Okay, awesome. So, and then when and how do you involve influencers? That's another awesome question. So influencers, as soon as you have a product in hand that you know people love and you've got your packaging sorted out, you can even involve influencers as early as before launch. Like we've worked with a lot of brands, say with Kickstarter, that would have 5 or 6 production units that they would send to influencers for initial reviews. We're doing a market validation test right now with somebody who is pre-launch, and we're testing through Shopify for a $600 item. And he has a few review units that he's already sent out to YouTubers, and he's got 4 different reviews from YouTubers right now. So you can do everything pre-launch. You just need product to sell them, right? So if you are getting ready to put in that manufacturing run, if you can get a couple products in advance to send out to influencers immediately, don't wait. You know, the more social proof, the more audience, the more awareness, the better. Okay. Folder O, crowdfunding versus your model. Target audience is the same. Best performing graphics and messages are the same in both cases. CPM is the same. Click-through rate is the same. Yes. The difference with your it's all the same, because when it comes to crowdfunding, it depends on how you're sending traffic and what your objective is with it. But with crowdfunding, if you're building a list, you don't have to build a list before you go to launch on Shopify or your own brand. This can work on WordPress too, right? Or Wix or whatnot. But the other thing is that if you have a live Kickstarter campaign and you're driving traffic with the intention of converting to a sale, yes, the numbers are about the same. The way you do it is the same. The retargeting, all that is a lot easier on your own website, because Kickstarter doesn't allow you to pixel your page, which is annoying, but that is. What is the lead to buyer conversion rate of your model? So if you're going to Kickstarter and you have a launch email list, you then launch on Kickstarter, you are expecting about 2 to 3% of your list to convert, and that's on a good day. Okay, so that means about 2 to 3% conversion. Whereas when you're going straight to the consumer on Shopify, you don't have that email list, so you don't convert that email list, right? If you did on your website, you would assume it's going to be like 2 to 4% on that list. But again, I don't think you need to build this big list going to Shopify. I think you can just literally launch and then start building your audience. In that case, your strategy for customers is a lot different, because you're spending money on Facebook with the intention of acquiring a customer right away, right? So, okay. And then folder go, missed my previous comment. Did I? 2 seconds. There's a lot of comments, so. Folder go. Actually, I don't think I saw your comment, folder go, because I did talk about crowdfunding as your model, email subscriber, conversion buyer. Oh, yeah, 1-2% crowdfunding. If asking for $110 US discount reservation fee, the conversion rate is 22. Honestly, it really depends. Like, email subscriber conversion rate is like, again, 2 to 3% is what we've seen. But if you're doing that VIP program, which is you ask for a deposit, a $1 deposit before your list, that VIP conversion rate totally depends on your product price point, because we've seen the VIP conversion rate is 10% on $300 products. We've seen it up to 30% on items that are less than $100 with that. Great. Okay, guys, are there any other questions for today while you have me? If you do have any questions that come up, we are going to leave the live video up for a few days, so you can either comment on there or shoot me an email at k@kirsten.com, or you can set up a call with us if you want to talk specifically about your product at launchandscale.co/PLP. Apart from that, guys, thanks for sticking with me for 45 minutes. I'm really looking forward to our next week's training. We're going to be probably covering a different topic. So if you have a recommendation for what you want to learn a little bit more of after going through today, let me know in the comments. All right. Thanks, guys. Chat soon.